Hey everyone, today I'm going to be telling you a story time about the time I encountered a shadow person. I was, I think about, I want to say between 19 and 20. I was still living with my parents at the time, and I was living with my parents and my boyfriend, who I'm no longer with anymore, but that's irrelevant. So it all started, well, let me back up because in order for this to all kind of like make sense, I have to tell the backstory. It started one night when my boyfriend at the time and I were sleeping, and at the foot of my bed, I would constantly be hearing like this shuffling sound, and we had like our entire apartment, with the exception of the kitchen, was carpeted, and it would just literally sound like kind of like a heavy weighted foot shuffling at the foot of my bed. And I don't know how to explain it, but it sounded as though it was like a man. How like shuffling between like versus like a child versus like a full grown man would sound, like dependent on like their body weight. It's the best way I can describe it. And this would go on, it wasn't like consistently like every night, but it was intermittent, like it would come and go every other night. Anyway, so it started off with that, and next day I would ask my boyfriend, I'd be like, hey, did you hear any shuffling at night? And he'd say no, no, no. And I don't know if he was just discrediting it or just like not wanting to, I don't know, feed into it. He didn't really believe in that kind of stuff. Not that I really do, but after my experience, I do. So that would go on. I kind of just stopped talking about it because no one really wanted to hear about it, and or they just didn't really believe it was going on, whatever the case was. So several months of that went on, and then one night we had kind of gotten into an argument. Also, I just want to interject and say that all of this shuffling sound at night would happen in what they call like the witching hour, between like probably I want to say like 12 and 3 a.m., something like that. And so months later on, like I said, my boyfriend and I, we had gotten to some arguments. So I was in the bedroom, just watching TV and ready to go to bed. He was out in the living room folding laundry, and this was, I'd say, about like, I want to say like 11, around 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And I generally have a hard time sleeping. I'm not the type of person that just naturally just falls asleep early. So I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm like in that stupor phase, the like dopey, getting ready to fall asleep. And in my bedroom, there was two doors. You had the door that entered into the bedroom, and then the door that entered into the second or like guest bathroom. And it was wide open, and the shower curtain was like halfway open, and we had this night light that we kept in the bathroom because like I said, I live with my parents. My father's like visually impaired, so it just helps him see at night. And I look over from watching TV, and I see this very tall, this was like undeniably, it wasn't like, oh, it was just like a shadow casting, excuse me, a shadow casting from the light from the night light. I know people are going to say like, oh, it could be a shadow casting from that, from the shower curtain and then into the shower. It wasn't like that. This was like undeniable and 100% what I saw. So back to the story. Sorry, it was just very, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so I look over from watching TV and I look into the shower and I see this figure. Now, judging by where the shower curtain rod was, which would probably be about 6.5 feet from the floor, and I see this figure that is, the only way I can describe it is, he's about like almost 6 feet tall, completely black, can't see through him, it's not like transparent at all, and he looks as though he's wearing like a long coat and a black, whole figure's black, but a wide brimmed hat. I know that, not that I am a well-versed person in this topic, but I've heard of people referring to this figure, entity, or whatever, shadow person, as the man in the hat. I'm sorry guys, I have a tickle in my throat. But it was just so well defined. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. So I initially thought it was my boyfriend at the time, just playing a joke on me, thinking he was funny, trying to get back at me for whatever it was at the time that we were arguing about. So I called out his name and I was like, Tyler, and repeatedly, and he didn't answer. So I had this small little square like decorative pillow in the bed, so I threw it into the shower and this thing just went right through it. And that's the point when I freaked the hell out, and I was just frozen in fear. Honestly, I couldn't move. It was almost like I was in a state of paralysis. And I still remember it like it was today. I ran out of the room, flung the bedroom door open, and just ran out to the living room, and there he is, just sitting on the couch folding laundry still. Exactly what he was doing before. So I knew it wasn't him. I asked him, I was like, were you just in the bathroom just like messing with me, or like what were you doing? And he swore to God that he was just on the couch folding laundry. I literally sat on the couch. I started crying because I was so freaked out. And ever since that day, I've never seen the figure again. But I've always had like just like this ominous, just very uneasy, like creepy feeling coming from my room. I won't ever be able to explain it. I no longer live there. I've moved out and I'm with my fiance. Now we live in our own place. I haven't experienced anything like that here. And I'm so thankful for that. However, I've asked my father, who has experienced some things in that room, and he said that in the night he's experienced someone like lightly like just like tugging on his comforter, and also heard like footsteps or shuffling in the room just as I did. So I don't really know how to explain that, but that was my one and only experience with like a shadow person. But I can promise you, I will never forget that. I'd love to know what you guys have experienced, if anything, and I'd love to hear your stories. So if you have anything that you'd like to share, just drop it in the comments below, and I'd love to know. All right, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day. Bye.